Um,
Sorry, I lied to you guys. It was auto-connecting 5 minutes before instead of 10 minutes before. Can you hear me?
okay, 300.
Whoa, who's that? I can see Troy Bradshaw, but he's frozen. I can see Jim Black in Washington twiddling his fingers. Who else is out there?
This is Bonnie at Beaver School District. Who are you trying to reach?
We're doing a Chromebooks. Lane, at least should be there. I think maybe Tracy, I don't know.
Tracy's up in Salt Lake. I'll get a hold of Lane and see if he's planning to be here. I'll go ahead and turn you on.
Thanks.
And see what's
Thanks,
going on.
Bonnie. Appreciate you.
Okay, so this is Troy. I can hear you if I turn off my microphone.
Do you have some headphones, Troy, if you're coming in on your laptop? It's a pair of like a headphones at least, or some like some of the microphone in it.
Does the mic work in here, Clint? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Jim.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. About time you came. You reached 10. Who's he reached 10?
I don't know. I'm here.
Hey, good. How are you, Travis?
Good.
Looked like Troy was having some troubles. Charlie Roberts is here.
Storm's at 4 o'clock.
Charlie's joining us from the sunny California on the beach. I appreciate him taking his time to join us.
Can we get a shot of him?
He's got to talk.
Can you hear me?
Just Travis.
Can we see that beach?
Yep, we see you, Charlie. We can hear you.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We'll wait for a few minutes. I know I heard from Lane Lim and Beaver. He's trying to get ready to deploy 300 some odd devices. So if we can give him a few minutes to get here, that might be good.
It'll be good to, yeah, it'll be good to hear these people's experiences. You know, we just got done doing about 1,200, and it's been.
That's why I need you and Jim here. It's because I think Lane's pulled maybe 3 or 4 of them out of the box and done a couple of them.
We're still
Travis,
having fun with our setup.
Have you done it yet?
I've done 10
10
out of 200. Well, at this point, 220. So we'll have 450.
Yeah, Washington did some work. I've got a picture here I can show you while we're still waiting, of the fort that they built with all of their boxes. If I can find it real quick. There it is. Switch it over to my laptop. So I know they've had experience in deploying these machines, because those are all empty. At least that's what they told me. So. It'll be good to have some expertise. We text Gerald to see if he's coming.
Yeah, I wish Jim Black was in on this, but
He is. He just hasn't
Is
said
he?
anything since you connected. Yeah, he's here.
are you on, Jim?
He was.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right.
That's
If I hit the right button.
Your bandwidth looks a little better today, Charlie. Or you?
I messed with the settings once I got online there. I mean, once I got done with you and thought, okay, what's going on? And I could see that there was some adjustment I could make.
Good. Good. Let's see. Full screen participant. Show myself view. Do we need that?
Only if I'm doing something funny and you know if I'm doing it.
Do something funny then.
I'm not.
We got Scott here too. Did you text him? Okay.
Usually it's
So, Jim, are you in the conference room?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Should I see him come up on screen when he talks, or does this act that way?
Yeah, it's supposed to be voice switched, but you may
Supposed to
have
be.
to
Maybe
talk
I got
more than
something
just
screwy here.
1 or 2 words.
Okay.
How's the beach today? Is it a little warmer today, or?
It's incredible out there. I'd put the camera out that way, except it would kind of probably blow out the camera with all the light.
I appreciate you thinking about us, Charlie. I really do.
You can see it on the side of my head there, all that light hitting it.
It looks good. Yeah, we're supposed to get 5 to 8 inches tonight.
It's been premium here today. It's just been a really nice day. A little breezy, but it's been beautiful.
Good. Let's see. He hasn't texted me
yet. Oh, it says no.
We're waiting to see if Lane shows up in Beaver. So a couple more minutes, and then we'll get started. Did you guys get a copy of the agenda? That come through okay?
Oh, were we supposed to keep that?
I'll have it on the screen and I'll take notes. I just want to make sure. There's Troy. Can you hear us?
I don't have a microphone. Can you hear me?
You have headphones?
I don't have them.
Okay. We can hear you though. Just keep it muted until you want to say something. You're getting some crazy feedback, it sounds like.
Hey, Clint,
Yeah, I can.
did you hear Paul's leaving?
He sent me a text today, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Sounds
Where's
like
he
it's
going?
fast.
he said
He
his wife
got a
was
job,
so
he
shook
said,
up.
doing what he was doing here at SEDC, so kind of assessment results, but with all the SPED directors in the state. So it's a USOE position. But he'll be working with all the SPED directors on assessment data. So.
I asked him if special ed and USOE were redundant.
Good to see you again. It might be. Well, I guess we can get started. Travis, you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. So I think the knowledge is on Washington's side. I've done very little. I helped Lane set up, like I said, I watched Gerald in Garfield set up 2 or 3, and he did something that was off the script of what The Google stuff he put in, he took the MAC address and put it in the notes and some other things. And so I kind of want to just
Hey,
try to build some kind of a document, just kind of a step-by-step of what ought to
hey,
be done.
Clint.
Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
sorry
Did
to
you hear
bug
from
you.
Lane?
This is Bonnie. Hey, Lane is in Minersville. He's wondering if you guys can connect with him through the Polycom there
In Minersville.
at Minersville
He
School.
can, let me give you a number and he can dial it in. Charlie, what was the number? 07.
I can give you
I mean, look-
I texted you.
070670.
Okay, let me put that in the
Okay,
notes.
repeat that again. 070670.
Correct.
Okay, we'll have him try and contact him.
070670, right?
Okay, thank
Here.
you.
Okay.
We'll leave you connected until we hear that you've disconnected. Or
Okay.
that you've connected with him, if that's okay.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
And so I think we've kind of taken care of the background a little bit. I mean, we've got what? Oh, we haven't heard from Troy. Troy, how many devices do you have? Are you planning? Do you have that are not deployed yet? Need to deploy? Where are you at with all that? Unmute your computer if you can. All right, Troy's having audio issues, so we won't worry about him for that part of it. Travis, you said you had a couple hundred. Washington, I know you just put in, what was it, 1,400? And how many did you already have in place?
Hey, can you
Hey,
guys hear
Jim,
me
I'm going
now?
to let you respond.
Okay, we can see Minersville's joined.
Yep. Welcome in, Lane.
We've probably got pretty close to about, I don't know, what did you say, Charlie, about 2,000?
I don't know. That's a good guess.
You know, so we've been throwing them in so dang fast, we haven't kept track of them all.
Right. How many different schools?
Pretty much all of them,
Okay.
45 schools.
So a small number of devices in 45 different schools, so maybe a couple
Yeah.
labs in each one.
Something like that, yeah.
If you, but each one of your schools has a different Google domain, right?
Yeah,
So are you manage them under the school's domain, or do you have one that you're doing for the district? And
they're under the
subdomain,
school domain,
Okay.
school's domain.
Okay, so it's kind of like a subdomain, but they were already set
Yeah.
up and ready to go. Okay. Any schools, do you have any schools that have done subdomains within their school for different labs or different locations?
No,
Because I think that's the route that Beaver is going to go. They have set up one student Google Apps domain for email, and then they're going to make subdomains under that to manage each set of those
Now you mean-
devices.
do you mean
separately.
subdomains or suborganizations?
Sorry, yeah, suborganizations.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, so we have suborganizations for those, but they're basically the, we've divided up the students into graduating classes, not specifically labs, because
Okay.
you'd have to move a kid from one group to another to be in that lab every time they wanted to pick up different settings.
Okay. That makes sense. Lane,
So
can
we
you
just
hear
sort
us?
of have-
Can you make
What's
sure
that?
he's on? Can you hear us? May need to unmute your microphone, Lane, if you're there. Oh well.
Hey, you got me?
Oh, there
You
you
hear
are.
me now?
Yep, I can hear you. We can see you. Welcome. We're just kind of doing little introductions, figuring out who's got what. Tell us how many devices your district is planning on putting in, how many you've done through the deployment process, where you're at with that.
In total, we should be in the vicinity of just under 500 by the time we're done.
Okay.
We're at 340 right now. We'll be picking up another 105 when they come in. At least that's what we're anticipating. We're sitting with about probably close to 100 right now that are being managed. Probably another 70 that were a previous deployment that are not managed. I've got to go back through and manage those. And I kind of got a little bit of the domain versus the organization conversation, and it sounded like they were putting them in by student in graduating classes instead of by labs. And I guess I didn't understand why a student couldn't pick any machine up well, they for can. that lab. They can pick up
Okay.
any machine for it. I'm not sure why you'd put them in a lab. We just do it to students, and then we lock down the students or set the settings for the students.
I think in Beaver they were concerned that different sets of teachers would want to whitelist or blacklist or open up different apps or different websites per group. So instead of managing a whole, managing it as a group of graduating class of students, they'd manage it as a set of computers, a classroom set.
Unfortunately, the settings don't apply to the computer. They apply to the user.
But you can't manage it by the subdomain settings.
By the suborganizations, by user,
Suborganizations,
not by
okay.
machine. It doesn't
Right.
apply to the Chromebook. It's set to the user.
Right, so they've set up different sub-domains, sub-organizations by labs, by groups of computers.
So do
Rather
those
than by
kids
student.
always go into the same lab?
Yeah,
I don't know.
more than likely, with our elementary schools, that lab will be shared with just, 3 or 4 classes. That's kind of what we're looking at.
Okay,
But
then
we're
that would
open to
work.
direction.
That would work as long as those kids are always in the same lab, because if they go into another lab and use a different Chromebook, they're still going to have whatever settings they had in the other lab. The settings
So
follow
the
the user, not the book.
So the settings follow the user, not the book.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because the location is really only a note in there. And we were wondering about that, Lane, when we were setting them up.
So how did they? We'll have to brainstorm that on how we want to adjust those students.
But, and I think you're doing 2 different situations. Beaver is rolling this out, was it 3 through 6 first?
Yes.
Elementary, is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm guessing a lot of your stuff in Washington was secondary? Or is it every school, Jim?
It's every school.
Okay. Oh, and that's something we need to discuss, which is the best way to group devices and things like that.
Well, let me
ahead, John.
offer something here. You're really managing 2 different things. You're managing students and you're managing devices. And with some things that you want to configure, you're going to want to do it with managing students, while others you're going to want to do it with the devices. So that I think that's one of the things you have to think about when you're doing this.
So do you have pros and cons for either way?
It depends on what you're trying to manage. If you're trying to manage where the students go, what blacklists or whitelists they have, that's a student setting, not a device setting.
So you can't set the device to do that.
No.
So why would what's the benefit of managing the device then?
No, you can do blacklists on the device.
No,
That's
you can't.
not a problem, but then how do we set up something like where we're saying you can only go to these 2 domains? Is that strictly done with the users?
Yep.
Okay, my mistake.
By the sub-organization, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I know there's a setting in there where you can allow different sets of email addresses to sign in to those books.
To the device, yeah.
Right. And when we were doing it in Beaver, I was able to figure out, let me throw this up on the screen. We couldn't get it to work while I was there, but if we put in this whitelist, or just say, anyone with a bcscstudent.org account can sign into that to any of those devices. So no matter where they are in their sub-organizations, Lab 1, Minersville, and Elementary School Lab 1, whatever student account, as long as they have a bcscstudent.org account, they can log into it. Does that work?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And that's, so I mean, I guess
that's
you
a
could
device
so you have
level
different,
setting.
yeah, so if you guys had a group that you were going to move between schools, you could just say on this list, you could say, okay, we'll also allow anyone from Star at, let's say, what's the school down there?
I'll just say ironmail.org, just
Yeah,
for fun. You can do that. They're the only ones that can sign into the Chromebook if they're in either of those 2 groups. But the blacklist or the whitelist of URLs they can go to only apply to people in the domain that Chromebook is registered. So if that Chromebook's enrolled in that beaverstudent.org, only students in that organization get the, whatever you set over there in the user settings options to limit their URL.
Where do you limit that at?
Scroll down there a little bit. There's a blacklist or yeah,
Other
keep going.
sites, right. Okay.
Yeah, so you can, the pages
Down here
below,
somewhere.
that sort of stuff. But that only
Blacklist
applies to
there.
people in that sub-organization at that school or in
Okay.
that domain.
The students okay, I got you. So any accounts in this BES Lab 1 or in this sub-organization,
Right.
those blacklists and whitelists will follow.
But if I
follow
sign
that,
in
no
with an
matter-
Iron Mail account or a Watch K-12 account, if it was allowed, those limits don't apply to me.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so the rules follow the account, like you said. The rules follow the student, not the device. Okay.
Yep.
That's a good thing to know.
So how exactly did you set your students up then?
Let me think here. We actually have, I mean, every student's set up in that domain of their school. If they move to a school, they've got to have a new account. That's one advantage to you guys having one, like there in Beaver, where you've got one domain for all your students. And so we've set the permissions or the blacklist based on the entire student population or a subset of that group. If a specific teacher has specific students they're working with at that time, they need to be moved into that sub-organization, and then whatever features or whatever filters or settings are set on that.
So like
Jim,
with us,
go
where
ahead.
where we're small, where we only have one domain, is it better to give privileges to the students or the device?
It has to be to the students. You can't give settings to there's only certain things you can set to the device, like who can sign into it. But a blacklist, if you only want them to go there, it has to be to the student level or the user level. And so, yeah, there's kind of only one option there.
So,
But Lane, the way you got it set up, go back to this.
Okay.
It's okay. So if I understand this right, if I'm making changes to the entire organization, I can set up global blacklists and whitelists, right? But if I come down into that sub-organization, which you've got set up as different labs, that would still, that's right, the kids could move from lab to lab though, that's the problem. So.
Yeah, because when you assign them over in organization and users, they go to one organization, so. At least at this point. Maybe they'll get someday where Google will let us put them in more than one.
Now, that makes more sense. So the device, doesn't matter where the device is, the rules follow the student account. So probably, Lane, you probably ought to set those up as like grade levels maybe, or just schools.
Yeah.
See, and that's, because right now, the way it is, the way we've set it up right now, if I make a change in the domain, it will change all of the students, because we only have the one domain.
Right.
BCSD.
Right, but you could create sub-organizations inside that one domain and put students in different groups that way.
And then just pull the students into it from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Travis, that makes sense?
Yeah, I don't know that I am going to worry too much about complicating the issue. I think I'm just going to put them all under our student cane mail domain, and I mean anything that we don't want students access to, if we don't want it, we can control that through the web filter. There's not really a whole lot of apps out there that's going to cause grief and problems secondary versus elementary, is there?
The only thing we were looking at.
Go ahead, Jim.
The thing we were doing with that was when it came time for end-of-level testing, we'd blacklist everything except the end-of-level testing website. And that's just how we did it, to make sure they couldn't go anywhere else but to the testing website.
And that right there is going to be important. So we're going to need, I'll want help with setting that up when we're ready to test.
Because we can set that up.
Just put it in that list.
Because we'll be able to set that up through our whole domain.
Right.
Blacklist everything except for that one.
Right. So
the fun thing is when you
down,
have the
down here, these are the different organizations. Can you guys see my screen? Travis, can you see?
Can you move it up a little?
Can I do what?
You're good.
Okay. So if I've got the whole domain set here, anything that I put in here in the blacklist will be blocked by the whole domain. And then these are the exceptions. So I could just put in a star right here and say block everything. And then come down here and put in the exception, the testing site. So it'll block everything but that. If I didn't want to do that for the entire, like say, Beaver was, I don't want to see, cancel, yeah. That's fine. So if Beaver was testing but Minersville wasn't, then I would come into Beaver's settings and say, okay, let's blacklist everything and open up the testing engine, but leave Minersville the same. So if they were testing a week later, a week earlier, whatever, you could manage it by sub-organizations if you set it up that way. If you don't have the sub-orgs, then whatever you do for the entire student domain will be done for every school wherever you've got those set up. So that part's pretty easy to do, right, Jim? I'm assuming that's all you would do. Okay.
The fun part's when you have the English department testing one day and the science department testing another day, and they want to use the Chromebooks, but
right.
One's testing and one's not. So.
And you don't want to break schools up into different departments for students, and
yeah,
that's messy. That's messy.
Because you'd have to move them every time they change class periods in some cases.
Troy, you good? Thumbs up if you're good.
So,
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you can. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to know if you can hear me. I found some headphones, so I don't know if it was fixed or not.
Much better. Much better. Sounds good. Any questions?
No, I guess you just said that. That's the problem I have is they'll test in one class and not the other, and they want to have that access to do other stuff in another class. So I have no idea how to do that and mess with that.
Well, and what Washington's doing is they're doing subdomains not by location but by grade level. So if if 7th grade was doing their testing that day, I mean, I don't know if that doesn't help you with departments. Can an account be in multiple subdomains, suborganizations?
No, unfortunately,
Can't be yet. Now, so you can't.
not yet.
It'd be nice if you could tag
Supposedly
an
they're
account
working on it.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could do it by tags. So you'd say, this kid's in this group, this group, this group, but
Yeah.
can't do that yet. Okay.
Now,
So-
couldn't they, to bypass that, we could, well, is that block URL, is that going to come as a result of the student logging in, or is that going to lock up the entire device?
Student
No.
logging in.
The rules
So if
follow
they enter in the
default.
guest mode, can they still browse?
You can block guest mode.
They could, but you can turn off guest mode.
Well, what I'm saying though is that could be a way that, you block it, and in order for them to test, they have to log in. But if they're wanting to do a UTIPS practice, then those others can log in as guests and have access to the web.
Yeah, that's a
But
possibility.
yeah.
So organizing them with students, how are you going to test?
Are you asking me, Lane?
Jim.
How did they test, Charlie? We just locked down the whole school, didn't we?
That's right. I mean, the last time we only had these Chromebooks at 4 schools, and we had like 30 at 4 schools when we did the testing, and we just locked down the whole school. At this point in time, that's an issue.
That sounds like it. So can we move on? Is that good enough discussion on blacklists and how where the rules go and they follow the students? So any management you want to do needs to be done on a student account level, can't be done on a block of Chromebooks. The only control you have over the Chromebooks is what accounts you allow to log into it. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Questions? Okay. All right, let's switch gears to deploy. Let's see. Any issues or difficulties in deployment that you guys had? What was the process, Jim, you guys went through with each one of those machines in those boxes?
We opened them up, we waved a magic chicken over them, and they worked.
Ooh, how do we get the magic chicken?
No, we called in everybody in the department. We had about 10 people here at any one time, and we just cracked them open. If they had battery, we just did it. If they didn't, we plugged them in, powered them up, and enrolled each one of them.
By hand, right?
Where we had the 45 schools, I went into each domain and just created a Chrome account and set the same password on all of them. So as we just went through them, we just used the same password and name on each one of them to get them enrolled.
Okay. Anything special or off the script that you did during that enrollment process?
We tried doing the auto enrollment feature. There's actually an option where you can, in the device settings, it did not work very well for us. Someone else may have better luck with it, but the auto enrollment feature you can turn on from the management console that the first time someone logs in that domain, that's the domain it's enrolled with. At least that's the theory behind it.
Yeah.
That's the theory behind the auto enrollment anyway, but.
And that's what I've been using is just going in
So you've
and
been-
auto enrolling.
Right. So you've been signing in with your student account.
Yep.
Control Alt E.
Putting that, and that enrolls that device in that subdomain or in that organization, right?
Yep.
I'm doing it by subdomain, all right, yep, and then it's in, okay.
And if you lose Wi-Fi in the middle, you have to reset it.
Yep.
How
We
long
had
does
a
that
few of
take
those.
to reset it?
About 5 to 7 minutes, I'd say, by the time you reset it, let it go through its procedure, and then come back online.
Yeah, when you're doing 1,100 of them as fast as you can go, when you do that, you sort of kick yourself.
I can't even imagine doing them. I can't see how the auto enrollment would help with that many. Doing how I've been doing it, where I've actually been going in and getting the MAC address and putting them in a file.
Mm.
So remind me again what the difference between the auto enroll and the just regular enrollment process is.
The regular enrollment procedure is you would just, when you first turn it on, you press Control-Alt-E, and then you sign in with your admin account. The auto enrollment feature, which like I said, didn't seem to work for us, is supposed to make it so that the first time someone logs into that domain, then that book is automatically enrolled to that domain.
You had mixed results with that, huh?
It didn't really work well for us. We tried it and then had to reset 2 or 3 of them.
2 or 3 out of 1,400?
Well,
Or
yeah,
out
you
of
know.
the couple that you did?
The couple we did, and then we said, no, this isn't
Okay.
working. We'll go back to what we know works.
All right, and so what was that the process there? What do? You hit
When it's
Control-
first powered up, as long as nobody's logged into it, you press Control-Alt-E, log in with an administrator account on the domain you want it enrolled in, and you're good to go.
And that's what I've been doing because I have to put in the wireless key anyway.
Yeah. If you got to put in a wireless key or whatever, then you might as well do it that way. First, you have to put the key in before you can even enroll it anyway.
Even the auto side, you have to put the key in.
Yep.
So on my device, I have one device that apparently it didn't enroll. It works. You can log into all the accounts, but you can also log into outside accounts, and it didn't enroll. So how do I go back and re-enroll that?
Is it the
It might be
Samsung
enrolled.
S5s?
Yeah.
Sorry, it might be enrolled, Troy. Can you go to it and see it in the devices in your domain?
No, I
Because
could.
it may have
That
enrolled,
device.
but you may not have set up any rules on what Gmail accounts can log into.
No, I have, and it's just like the same. It just shows that it's been shipped. It doesn't show that it's been enrolled, but I can log into that.
Okay, it
device.
just got missed when you did the enroll. What you'll need to do is on those Series S5s, on the right-hand side next to the USB port, there's a little cover. Open that cover and flip that little switch. Do this when it's turned off.
Right.
And then there's a little tiny little switch in there. And then once you flip that switch, turn it on, it goes into developer mode. Like was said, it takes about 5 to 7 minutes to do. Once it's done, turn it off, flip that switch, and then you can re-enroll it.
So you're just resetting the whole device, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
Okay, I'll try that.
there's the one set of instructions that I received, it wouldn't work. Then the second set that I found worked just fine by resetting the whole device and starting over.
Yeah.
When the little computer screen pops up on your reset, you can't hit the space bar. You have to go in another, and I can't remember the keys right off the top of my head.
Control-Alt-D.
Send that to me, Elaine.
Control-Alt-D.
Yeah.
Will you send me that set of instructions that worked for you, Lane?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to try to make a document that anyone can refer to do this enrollment stuff, so we don't have to go out and dig around at Google to find what's been working all over the place. So we're just trying to make things easier for you guys. Let's see. What are the main questions? So Travis, Lane, Troy, what do you need answered today before we leave?
I don't know. not sure I have any questions. Did anybody get some of the free books that were shipped out like I did?
You've got yours?
Yeah, I got my free ones, but the funny thing is they don't show up in my devices, so I can't enroll them either.
See, and I haven't received mine yet. I was wondering if anybody had. I just haven't seen them, haven't heard, no emails or nothing on them. And I would like them.
Well, the problem is they don't show up in your devices, so I think I have to call Google, I guess, I haven't had those devices or something.
Do you have enough licenses available under your device list to do it?
Well, I haven't got the others shipped yet, right?
Yeah, if you've gotten your free ones, but you have licenses available, you can enroll them even if they don't show up in that list.
Well, maybe I have to go try that then and see.
Automatically enroll them and they'll pop in your devices
Yep.
through the auto enroll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lane, you, any questions you need answered before you leave today?
I think so far my enrollment process has been going okay. How taxing has your network been with your Wi-Fi when you've deployed these?
I've got that on the list to discuss.
Okay.
Anything else?
The rest of it's just, let's put together a pretty good list of apps and stuff that are good to have in the classrooms that other people are using, so we don't have to go out, do all the research. If somebody's got it figured out, I'd rather not reinvent the wheel.
That's a great idea. I'll send that out with the notes, and I'll just solicit that from everyone from the group and send it to me, and I'll push it back out to everybody else. We'll do that. Good question. Travis, anything that's not on the agenda you need answered?
Pretty much ditto on Lane. Where Washington's been doing it, I'd like to know what apps they found to be effective. I've got money to spend because when we bought those new ones, they give you, I think I've got $1,000 worth of credit towards apps. But I'd like to know what they're using.
Charlie, how much credit did we get towards apps?
I don't think we got any credit. Did you guys purchase the Series 5 at $200 each?
I purchased 210 of the new series ones, and that's where I got the credit for the apps. And then where they couldn't produce the 210, they gave me the 210 free of the Series 5.
You got a good deal.
Yeah.
I got a hell of a deal.
One question, Clint, I forgot to ask this about printing. What's been the best successful way to print?
You have to set up a cloud printer.
Will any wireless printer do that?
If it's tied into a Google Cloud Print account. What we did in one of our schools was we had the teacher share a printer in the cloud and then shared it with all their students so they could choose that to print to. And I think it was just a wired printer, but any of your new ePrint stuff should be able to be set up that way.
Yeah, I know at our office I was able to set up an HP printer that's been here since longer than I've been here as a cloud printer, and I can print to that through Google, through my Chrome. I doubt it's any different on the Chromebook, as long as you just identify a printer or two or whatever as a cloud printer and connect to it. I think you're good to go. Do you have to make that a printer available through the domain settings, Jim? Do you know?
No, it's done through the Cloud Print share printer stuff.
Okay.
That's something we're still going to be playing with all of our printers and all of our Chromebooks now.
Okay.
So do the students have to know what cloud printer they're printing to? Will all of them show up?
Yeah, they'll all of them that have been shared with that student. Yeah.
Well, when you get that all figured out, let's kind of keep in contact on that one, because I think that's going to be a big issue.
Okay. I've got it listed. I'll follow up on that. Okay.
I'd like to say that these Chromebooks will release the need for printing, but you know that teachers are still going to ask for it.
It's true. And just so you guys know, I may have talked about this at SWAT, but I'm more than willing to share a workflow that your teachers can set up with their students so that sharing is easy, creating is easy, accessing all that stuff is just kind of seamless once you've got that workflow in place with the students and with the teachers. So hopefully it'll alleviate the need to use some of that paper. So. Okay. So let's continue.
I do have one question.
Oh, go ahead.
So when I try to import into user accounts, it doesn't let you import them into a subgroup, and then you have to drag and drop them in there manually, or put them in there one at a time, or one page at a time. I was told, I can't remember when, up to the last SEDC meeting, that they weren't syncing with Active Directory. They were importing them manually with CSV files. What's the process there that people's been using, and how does that work? Because it doesn't look like you can import user groups directly into a sub-organization.
That is correct. You cannot. Really.
So you create the sub-organization and then move them into there from the main organization?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. I'm just about got a set of scripts done that'll do it through the API and move it. The way it works right now is it creates the student user account, moves them to the sub-organization, creates a mailing list for the teacher, and puts the students in that mailing list based on the grade or class, depending on whether they're elementary or high school. Right now it's a manual process for me to start it and run, but eventually I'm going to put some links in there. The schools can just click go in PowerSchool, and it'll be done.
Okay, so I'm not an idiot then. Okay.
No, yeah, it's a pain, and you can only move them 30 at a time, and that's one reason why we liked our naming convention, where we put their graduation year first. So like a kid graduating this year would be a 13 at the front, so I can find all the 13s and move them into the same place and stuff like that.
When we set these up, we did not do that, but I have started doing that. After having to go through the entire list and deleting the seniors who I didn't know who the heck they were.
So
Yeah.
Jim, what convention are you using? What's the sequence?
It's the same as right now. It's the same as our PowerSchool login. We're trying to get as close to one name and password for the kids as we can. So it's 2-digit graduation year. I think it's 5 characters of the last name and 3 or 4 characters of the first name, something like that.
Okay. So no school.
Then we still have the occasional duplicate, which is kind of fun. Because we have mom that names one daughter Chloe and the other one Chloe, and it's spelled exactly the same. They just pronounce it differently. So.
Don't these parents know that we have needs when they're naming their kids? Come on.
Yeah.
So has anybody tried to use Active Directory or something to link them? Because I understand that would work with that.
We haven't.
That's something I can put on the list of things to look at, Troy.
Of course, it just seems inherently wrong. A Chromebook talking to a Microsoft product, but I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah. Well, you could use anything, a directory service, if it would
That's true.
set up LDAP or something like that. Is that what I was thinking?
Yeah, that would possibly work. I haven't set up the syncs there.
Okay. Okay. Can we move on to deployment? I mean, we've talked a little bit about it, but what are like the steps that you guys have gone through step by step in order to enroll and get those devices ready for each school? Lane, what have you guys been doing? You've done the auto enrollment?
Yeah, I've been doing the auto enrollment, but it's just me enrolling everything, so that's kind of why.
And what are the steps to that?
Just
You power up the device.
powering up the book. Some of them will come with enough power to do it. Some of them won't. Power it up. Put in your wireless key that you're going to go off of, your Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Sign in with your student Google account or your
The auto enrollment,
like
don't you have
mine.
to do a keystroke?
No. The
It's
first
just
time
the first one to sign into it.
the first one to sign into it, if it's under that account, it'll automatically enroll it, and it'll just show it that you're enrolled with that username. And
In the domain settings, don't you have to set the auto enroll first?
no,
When you
well,
log in
no,
without
no,
pressing
I take that back. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, you do. Once you set it, then you're okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we tried that with one or two of the domains. It didn't work for us, but you never know.
But have you had to redo any of them, Lane? A couple of them you said out of 100?
The only reason I had to redo them was because at the time and the place where I was doing it, my Wi-Fi signal was bad, and if it wouldn't maintain that signal, it would not log it in. Then I had to reset it.
Okay. So sign in with the account, and then that device is enrolled with that. Okay. Okay, and then you said the regular enrollment, Jim, powered up.
Powered up. Same thing if it's got battery,
Wireless
otherwise
key,
you got to plug it
put the
in.
wireless stuff in,
Put the wireless stuff in, and then you press Control Alternate E,
right?
and you log in with the admin account you want to do, and you're good.
And then it's enrolled. Okay. Are any of you guys? Because I know when I watched Daryl do it, he was taking Are you tracking by MAC address? Are you putting that in the notes for that device? You guys doing any of that, or just enrolling them and shooting them out? Is there anything extra that you're doing beyond just the regular enrollment steps for each device?
That's all we did.
We're just enrolling and putting them out.
Okay. Is there any need or advantage to tracking that MAC address with each device, or maybe the last 4 digits, or is that just waste of time?
Well, you've got the serial number that the device reports back to the management console anyway, so
That's true.
unless you're going to statically assign some IPs.
Okay, good point. All right, I'm okay with that. So regular way and the auto enrollment way, both seem to work well. Different success with different ways of doing it. I guess it depends on whether it's warm or cold, huh?
Yeah, it must be.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if those steps are good enough to do the enrollment part, I guess it shouldn't say deploy. Let's call this enroll devices. Let's see, fast and easy. So is there any way, does the location note do anything besides just be a note to where you put that? Is there any way to manage these things by location?
Not at present that I'm aware of.
Not that we know of, okay. So, no way to manage location.
Heck, you can't even sort that column in the management console.
I know, it's, okay, so enrollment, I'm gonna say this is enrollment. And then to deploy them, you just put them out there. What are you guys doing as far as management goes? Have you been pretty much hands off once these go out into school? Are you checking up on them to see if, I mean, what's in the management console that you can you check stats? Anything you can do with that beyond just set rules?
That's a good question. They keep adding reports to the system, to the management console all the time. I haven't seen a lot of them yet for the Chromebooks, but
So
there
there
are
are
some usage
reports in
graphs
there.
they've added just recently.
Where's that at?
I'm on the reports tab in the management console.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Lane, I hope you don't mind me showing this.
No, please do.
Okay.
I don't know
Please
what they
feel
pull
free to
up because I
contribute.
just clicked on it and it wants to look at 1,300 Chromebooks.
Awesome. I think I just lost my wireless.
No, and go ahead and critique it, how we're doing it, because this is a learning process for us.
For sure. Well, like I said, it wasn't working for me before the break. Thanks for fixing this. I at least can get in, I think. I didn't do it. Yeah, you broke it. I can't type my password. We've grown so impatient with the internet.
I think Google's having problems because I can't get into my management now.
Either.
Me neither.
Mine hicked up too, so.
So now everyone's having.
UEN's doing it.
Is that what it is?
Must
Well,
be.
let's see. Jamie Cassip said in a meeting that I went to that if you can't get to the Google homepage, you need to buy water and food storage.
Oh, here it goes. They're back. I heard that too. You're in that room too. So mail usage. So let's see. Chrome OS or mobile devices, right? Or Chrome OS.
I think it's need the Chrome OS.
Yeah. So 7-day active. Your highest activity lane was 35 books on the 27th. You must have been working that day, putting them in, huh?
Which report? Where are you at on reports?
I'm on Chrome OS, reports at the top, Chrome OS on the left, and this is the month view. Looks like ever since school, no one's used them, turned them on or anything.
No, they were in use today and yesterday, so.
Now this only, let's see, to the 6th. Let me go to the week. It's the same. Nice. Flatline.
2.
Oh, 2. 2 have been in use in the last week.
We had probably.
Well, this is the
last
6th. So
we've had. I'll bet we've had that I know for sure have been in use. Probably 25 different Chromebooks that I know have been in.
Well, yeah, it's only the last day it's showing me is the 6th, which was Sunday. So
Okay.
no worries. Yeah. So we got Chrome OS. Not a whole lot of. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
not
nice.
a
You
whole
can
lot
see
of
it.
reports there.
But maybe it'll. What's the mobile device one? Tell us.
That's for like your iPhones and your Android phones that are active in the system.
Oh, gotcha. That's good to know. That's cool.
You can really confuse
So-
people if you want to enforce the policy from your domain and they put their personal account on there.
Yeah. So let's see, domain settings, that's where we were. And then, no, that's not where we were. Settings? There we go, that's where we were. Chrome OS. All right, so reports are coming. Hopefully there'll be some other things coming on that in the future as far as tracking and reports. What are you guys doing about this? Who's got control over the blacklist and whitelist? Is it just the district office? Is it the district tech person? Do you have people in the buildings, teachers, anyone, or have you yet to decide what's going on with that?
In our case here at Washington, where we've got a domain for every school, there's techs at each school or a media center coordinator or somebody that's got access to deal with those.
Has Google added the ability to do individual managers for each sub-organization, or is that still domain only?
Actually, I believe that is now an option.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't in the past, but it seemed like they've added that. So if
Yeah,
you
I
did
think that's a relatively
subdomain-
new feature.
Right, so you could put somebody in charge of each group of kids, or if you're separating them out in labs, I guess you could do it that way as well, and have one person in charge of that. Any issues you guys see? Does that give that person access to mess with other things in the Google Apps domain, or is it just?
What you may find you have to do with them is they have to be in that organization.
Yeah, they'll need an account, probably for sure.
Well, they'll have to be in that sub-organization that they're going to manage. So if you're going to put one person
Right,
in charge
okay.
of one lab, they would need to be in there too. That, of course, means they're going to be affected by whatever privileges they set. So,
Right, but if you have a teacher domain, a student domain, and you're just doing the management on
Yeah.
the student side, you just give that person a login, and they can manage the student stuff and do the,
yep.
change that stuff. Any red flags? Is there anything we need to worry about with giving a teacher? I guess it depends on the teacher. Just a question. Wonder what you guys were doing. Lane, are you going to break it down to different people? Are you going to manage? Are you going to take requests from teachers to say block this or open this up, or how are you going to do that?
Probably just take, for right now, probably just take requests. What about apps? Or can we block what apps are put on there?
Jim?
I
Charlie?
think so. My connection to Google is still slowly coming back up here.
Let's see.
That looks like the way it works to me, but we haven't played with it. Really, our big focus so far has just been on the Google Docs.
Right. It looks like there's a tab in there for applications. So allowed apps and extensions, you can bulk purchase apps, school. There you go. Allow apps, all apps and extensions except the ones I block. Allow, or block all instead of, or block them all and allow the ones that I allow through. So you change default for the Chrome Web Store. You set up your own different page for the store. That's cool. Store permissions. So manage pre-install apps here. Manage the block or the apps that you can either allow or deny. So yeah, looks like you can manage all that stuff there.
So what if they've
Take that
already
there.
got,
Go ahead, Lane.
what if they've already picked up an app and put it on there, and we see, see some kids are, if we're not managing it right now, and then all of a sudden we see there's an issue, can we shut them down? The ones they've already put
Whatever
on.
rule the next time they log in, whatever rules you change, it should pick up, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. Kind of nice. Okay. All right. Any other questions on management? Ongoing. I'll ask you guys for a list of apps. I'll send out an email, and if you can identify 2, 5, 10, whatever that you guys are using, if you're using any at all. There's the regular ones that I think are good for anyone, like Evernote. I know they've got a Chrome app. Everyone's got to have Angry Birds, right?
Yeah.
That was the joke. You're supposed to laugh. That's okay. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you laughing. Yeah, so we'll try to get that list of apps built. Let's go back to that wireless question. Have you guys seen, what's been the hit in your schools, or have you seen one yet when you put them out there? Let's start with, Lane, have you seen anything? Let's start with you, Lane.
Well, we're just barely starting to get them out, so I really haven't noticed much.
And they haven't, right? You just got them enrolled over the break, right?
The carts showed up yesterday, so I've been dragging my feet till I get some carts to put them in.
Fair enough. Washington?
We've had some wireless routing issues, but we think we've got those pretty well resolved. The big thing we found is it's real fun when 30 or 60 Chromebooks all decide to update on the same day.
Right.
That is a bit of a hit on the network. So what we found is in the device settings, down at the bottom of the list, there's one that says, spread these updates out. Randomly update over X number of days, and they've got a drop down to choose. I think we set ours to a week, so randomly update over the week rather than everybody try to do it all at once.
We did that, didn't we?
Yeah, as soon as Jim said that, I was gonna mention that we found that somewhere. I will, I'll, in the notes, I'll say where that setting is, so you guys can go and find it. And
I've got it.
schedule. Where's
That
that?
seems to have made a difference in the schools that were having that complaint, but
But other than that, just
Time will
general
tell.
usage hasn't been a problem, right? So far?
no, not really.
Travis, where's it at?
It's under device settings, just at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, hey, in that device settings, on the show username and photo on the sign-in screen, have you got that turned off?
Yes.
I would, I think, because otherwise you're gonna, you know, I think
You're going to be
that's-
bogged down with everybody that's ever logged in, right?
Well, all the accounts
Yeah, and
that
it
are
only shows
available
about
for
the
that,
first.
in that domain, yeah. For what?
It only shows about the first half dozen or so, but it confuses people.
Yeah, I would just keep it the simple login and let it go. I think it would just save time and effort, probably.
You know, if you ever get to a one-to-one or close to that where the same student's using the same device all the time, then that'll be a nice time to switch back, yeah.
Does it show all users or just the ones that have logged into that machine? Any ideas?
Just the ones that have logged into that machine.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Good points. Thanks, Charlie. So no other wireless issue you guys seen yet?
We don't have enough out to make that determination.
Right. I was asking Washington. What's the
Yeah.
largest number of these you have in a school?
About 120.
Okay. Do you know if they've all tried to sign in at once or try to use them all at once, or they pretty well spread out?
They do use them all at once.
Okay. Good.
We've had to, for instance, I talked to Jason Wilson out at our Snow Canyon Cone site this morning. He was getting a bunch of the stuff set up at Lava Ridge because we just put in about 70 or 80 there. And we're having to move some access points around and do a little bit of changing. But, you know, as we expect that as the density of our devices increase, we're going to have to keep upgrading our wireless. There's just no way around that.
That's true. It's true. But just as far as regular use, email, documents, stuff like that, it's not hurting at all. Good.
No,
Okay.
hasn't been.
Good. Any other questions on wireless? Okay, I've got to get Charlie out of here by happy hour, so I'm trying to get through this. This is the question that I have, obviously, because this is, you know, it's my job. As far as, what are you guys doing for professional development? Are you doing kind of a top-down approach where you train a couple of people in a school and they train teachers or work with students? Or do we need to do it more bottom-up and go in and work with one teacher and a group of students at a time and build knowledge that way? Or are the kids savvy enough to where if the teacher knows basically what Google Docs is, they're good to go? What are you guys' thoughts? Let's start with Travis.
We're just going to throw them out there and let them play. I don't
Just
know.
let 'em go.
We're going to have to spend some time because, you know, our elementary students haven't really used email accounts. So we're going to have to spend some time helping them log in.
Travis, what's your what's your target? Are you putting these out in all levels, or just 3 through 6, or 7 through 12, or what are you guys doing?
We're putting them in 5 of our schools right now, from elementary to secondary.
Yeah,
Our Kanab and Valley schools are each getting devices.
Okay, so all levels, and what do you do for training?
I've been focused more on trying to get these things enrolled, and then it's probably just going to be more of a one-on-one with the teacher.
Let's see, Lane.
The goal that we have with our in-service will be probably school level. Go to each school, train. One thing that I'd like to see happen is just get them out in the schools. We have been using Google Docs to some extent. The 3 classes that have used them in Minersville, boy, they took off just like that. I didn't worry about them at all. So hopefully with the exposure of Google already, I think some of our schools will be quite easy. Belknap is using and have been using Chromebooks since the year started. Melford, we're still waiting on Melford's Chromebooks because they're in that shipment of 3, the Series 3 that have failed to show up.
So train the teachers and let them go forth.
And I'm trying to get the administrators on board probably more than anything to support the teachers.
Well, we'll have a good chance to do that next week with the training we're doing with them. So, okay, good. Charlie.
Yeah.
What's your PD plan for these? Where's everyone?
It's all over the place. We're doing whatever we can. When anybody requests the training, we do it. We tell them we have the training available. It really is tough for us to get in the schools. They don't want to generate the time to do that. We are training our administrators, our domain administrators on a lot of the issues, and we've got to get that done and do more of that in the near future. I'll be talking to the principals here in 2 weeks about how we can come out and give them a hand. I think one of the big things is the shift that I see to moving to Google Docs and getting people to understand the idea of collaboration and sharing docs. I mean, this is huge, and it's not just, of course, with the Chromebooks, it's with the OS, and so, I mean, with the browsers, so it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But it's tough. We can't get all the training done that we need to get done.
Okay. Just had a thought. Would there be value in us as a group identifying different topics, maybe like little 15-minute kind of things, and then Chris Hott and myself could maybe develop some screencasts or some sort of online video that little bite-sized pieces that they could go and take and learn how to share a document or collaborate, or how to set up a sharing folder, or little things like that. Would that be something of value to the region?
Yes.
And more than creating the documents, identifying the areas that we're having issues would be a big deal, because there's tons of stuff on YouTube. There's no sense reinventing the wheel. But I think it'd be important to identify where the issues are.
So some of the basics, maybe identify some basics, and maybe find some online resources that we can point our teachers and students to get them started.
Yeah, I guess what we need to do is pay attention and find out, or just kind of discover where people are having their biggest issues, and then make a kind of a knowledge base that they can quickly access for that.
Well, and I think to go along with that is targeting the areas that we'd like to see them implemented, and from even the administrators to see what they'd like to see these used at front. Then we can target what we want to train on. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, you want to make sure your administrators in your schools realize that they don't run everything.
That's true. Yep, they need to know that.
If it requires Java or Silverlight, Chromebook's not the answer.
They'll do Flash though, yeah?
It'll do Flash.
Flash, yeah.
Of course, we just got the call on that one this morning where a principal thought they would run their program and requires Java. Now they don't want the Chromebooks anymore.
Just because of that. Because it's
Which one's
specific
that,
one
Jim?
Arrowhead?
Okay, that was Silverlight that was giving them the issue.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately now we have to convince Google to transfer the licenses to another school so they can buy them.
Jeez. That's true. That is true. Okay, any other, let's see, Troy, any comments, questions on PD, how you see it rolling out in your school?
Well, right now we're still just beta testing. I'm just going to throw them in a couple classrooms first, so we're only getting a couple classrooms worth. So I just think we'll do it on a case by case.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Anything else on PD? Comments, questions? Okay. Just know that Chris is great. She especially does really well with the younger kids. I may not be as touchy-feely as she is for the elementary grade levels, but I'm happy to work with your secondary, whoever, getting going on these things. So let me know if we can help. Anything else we need to discuss? What are the outcomes that we need from this group? We've identified a couple of them today, making sure that we have some clear instructions on how to enroll these devices. We need to get a list of apps. We need to figure out the details on cloud printing, and that's stuff that I can work with. The question about Active Directory. What else does this group need to do? Is this something we need to meet on a regular basis, as needed as we deploy stuff or as we build knowledge? Just have because the mailing list is there. Chrome at SEDCK12.org. If you've got a question that you just want to bounce off the rest of the people in the group, feel free to use that address and ask questions of the group. How often do you think we need to meet, or do we? I mean, I know we had this big push. A lot of you guys jumped on the opportunity to buy the Series 5, right, at $200, and so you guys have a lot of devices right now and not a lot of expertise in getting them enrolled or deployed, and we'll go from there. What are your thoughts? Lane, what do you think? How often do we need to meet as a group?
Well, I think with the, being able to send an email out to everybody and get responses, that'll help. And then, maybe a quarterly or something like that. A lot of it's just going to be the growing pain right now, getting everything deployed out and figuring out stuff.
That's kind of how I feel, yeah. And again, if you don't want to send it right to the group, you can send me an email or question. I can shoot it out to the group, whatever you want to do. Charlie, what do you think?
I was going to say, maybe you ought to have a meeting at rural schools or something like that. I mean, where we're all together anyway, we could just sit down and talk about what some of the issues are and invite other people in there.
That's a good idea. Meet at rural schools.
Meet at conferences.
Yeah, try to get together at conferences. Problem is that I seldom have a free minute at those conferences, but that doesn't mean I need to be there whenever you guys talk about this stuff. I'm just the facilitator. So I'll add that to the notes as soon as Google comes back to life. I'm having issues again. What kind of resources do I need to, besides what we've identified, is there anything else that we can kind of collect and send out to you guys to help you get going on this stuff? Or do you need just time and people to get it going? I mean, I know we'd be happy to, to have Scott and Chris and I or whoever jump in a car and come help you guys because I know you have the first time through, you just got to manually touch every one of those machines and get them going. And if you need some help with that to help you get going, let us know. You know, Travis and Lane. I know, Lane, we've got some time scheduled next week. Do you need more than just me there?
No, I think we'll be all right. I'm keeping up as fast as I can get them out into the schools anyway.
Okay.
So.
Travis, you want to try to schedule a day for us to come help you do that? Or are you okay?
I don't know that you need to specifically come out for Chrome. If there was something that we were doing on another situation, we could just tack it on.
Do you want to rent a minivan and just stack a bunch of them in there and we can do them as we go out to Lake Powell or out to Big Water School?
Yeah, there you go. Big Water's not getting any of these.
Oh, I mean, we just set them up, you know, just get them going. We wouldn't have wireless though, I guess.
Yeah, I've got my stack over here that I've got to get started on.
Okay. Let us know if we can help. Yeah, my notes are gone here. I
Yeah,
think that's
Google's
about it.
reporting
I mean,
a problem with the drive right now.
Are they?
Yep.
That's probably what's going on. So if anything, if you guys think of anything that we can help out or that would benefit the group, I will send out some notes and some requests from you for any apps. If there's any topics that you would like me to find or develop some sort of training videos or tutorials for to get people up and running before you can get any training going, I'll ask you for that, and then I'll follow up on these other issues. Anything else? I think we've kind of hit everything on the agenda. Charlie still has, geez, plenty of time, 30 minutes to get to happy hour maybe? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But unless there's anything else from the group, I appreciate your time, especially Charlie. Thanks for coming in from the beach. I really appreciate it. And look for an email from me in the next couple days.
Thanks, Clint, for facilitating this.
Not a problem. And I will also send out the recording if you want to go back and review whatever we talked about. We did archive this meeting, and as soon as I have that information, I'll send that out. So if you want to go back and relive it, I guess you can. Anything else? Scott, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Clint.
Yep.
Thank
See
See
you.
ya.
Hey. Well, I was supposed to be in Beaver. I forgot. I didn't forget. I was going to try to make it to the district office by 3. Didn't realize it was that late. And they were calling for me in this Chromebook meeting. So I just walked into the lab in Minersville, or the Tamberg in Minersville, and got on. So where are you at? Okay, I'll walk right in.